Good evening, everyone. How many times have you set a big goal for yourself and felt overwhelmed by the sheer weight of it? Maybe it was a New Year's resolution to eat healthier or a promise to yourself that this time you'd finally write that book. And then life happened. The kids needed attention, work got hectic, or maybe you just didn't feel like you were enough to take that first step. Here's the truth. Life isn't changed by giant leaps. It's changed by tiny, consistent steps. Habits that seem so small, so insignificant, they almost feel like they shouldn't matter. But they do. Oh, they really do. When we think about changing our lives, we often feel the pull to start with a grand gesture, a bold move, a big announcement, or a total overhaul of our routines. But here's the secret. You don't need a clean slate, perfect conditions, or a major transformation to begin. You only need one thing: to start where you are. This idea might feel underwhelming at first. Start where I am, you might think, but where I am feels messy, unorganized, or just plain stuck. And yet, this is the magic of small habits. They don't require a perfect version of you to begin. They only require the you that you are right now. Imagine standing at the base of a mountain. Looking up, the summit feels impossibly far away. It's easy to get overwhelmed, to think, I'll never get there. But here's the truth. No one climbs a mountain in one leap. You climb it step by step, starting from wherever you're standing. And sometimes that first step might be as small as putting on your hiking boots. The same is true in life. Want to improve your health? You don't need to overhaul your entire diet overnight. Start by adding 1 glass of water to your day. Want to deepen your relationships? You don't need a dramatic conversation or a weekend retreat. Start by sending a text that says, I'm thinking about you. Want to improve your finances? Don't obsess over paying off every debt today. Start by saving the change from your coffee purchase. Starting where you are is about giving yourself permission to begin imperfectly. We often tell ourselves, I'll start when I feel ready. But let's be honest, when does ready ever really arrive? The truth is, waiting for readiness is just another way fear keeps us stuck. What if instead we embraced the messiness of the present moment and started from here? Take a look at your life right now. What small changes could you make today with the resources, time, and energy you already have? Starting small doesn't mean you're settling for less. It means you're building a foundation for more. And here's the thing about starting small, momentum builds. That 1 glass of water might turn into 2. That simple text might lead to a deeper conversation. That small saving habit might inspire a full budget overhaul. When you allow yourself to start where you are, you unlock the power of compound growth. Small efforts, repeated over time, create big results. But perhaps the most profound gift of starting where you are is this. It teaches you self-compassion. It's a reminder that you don't have to be perfect to make progress. You don't have to fix everything at once. You're allowed to begin exactly as you are in the exact place you're standing. So let go of the pressure to be extraordinary from day one. Forget about perfect conditions or the right time. The best time to start was yesterday. The second best time? Today. Right here, right now. We live in a culture that celebrates big milestones and dramatic transformations. Landing the dream job, running a marathon, hitting that goal weight, or buying your first home. And while these moments are beautiful and worth celebrating, they can overshadow the smaller, quieter victories that pave the way to those larger achievements. That's why it's so important to celebrate the tiny wins. Think of tiny wins as the bricks that build the foundation of a fulfilled life. On their own, they might seem small and insignificant, but together they create something remarkable. Yet because they're subtle and unassuming, we often overlook them. We shrug them off, thinking that doesn't really count or it's not a big deal. But here's the truth. Every small step forward matters. And the more we acknowledge these moments, the more motivated and empowered we feel to keep going. Why celebrating small wins matters. Celebrating small wins isn't just a feel-good exercise, it has real, measurable benefits. Psychologists call this the progress principle. It's the idea that making progress, no matter how small, is one of the most powerful motivators for long-term success. When you take the time to notice and celebrate the little victories, your brain releases dopamine, the feel-good chemical. This creates a positive feedback loop, reinforcing your efforts and encouraging you to take the next step. For example, let's say you're trying to build a habit of exercising. Instead of focusing on running a 5K right away, celebrate the fact that you put on your sneakers and walked around the block. That's progress. And when you acknowledge it, you're more likely to lace up those sneakers again tomorrow. What does a tiny win look like? Tiny wins are everywhere. You just have to notice them. They're the moments when you choose a piece of fruit instead of a bag of chips. You send an email you've been procrastinating on. You spend 5 minutes meditating even though your mind feels restless. You smile at a stranger or offer someone a kind word. You turn off your phone 10 minutes earlier than usual to get more rest. These moments may seem trivial in the grand scheme of things, but they're not. Each one is a small act of self-care, discipline, or courage. Each one is a step toward the life you want to create. How to celebrate tiny wins. Celebrating doesn't have to mean throwing a party or buying yourself a gift, though those are fun too. It can be as simple as pausing to acknowledge your effort. Here are a few ways to celebrate. Write it down. Keep a journal of your small wins. At the end of each day, jot down one thing you're proud of, no matter how small it seems. Share it. Tell a friend or loved one about your win. Sharing your progress creates accountability and allows others to cheer you on. Give yourself credit. Take a moment to say, I did that, and feel proud of yourself. Don't downplay your efforts. Reward yourself. Treat yourself to something small, a favorite snack, a relaxing bath, or a few minutes of guilt-free scrolling on your phone. Create a visual reminder. Use a calendar, checklist, or app to track your progress. Seeing those tiny wins add up is incredibly motivating. Shifting your mindset. The key to celebrating tiny wins is learning to see them in the first place. It requires a shift in mindset from focusing on what you haven't done to noticing and appreciating what you have done. Instead of saying, I only read 1 page of a book, say, I made time to read today. Instead of thinking, I didn't exercise for an hour, say, I moved my body today, and that matters. When you celebrate small wins, you give yourself permission to be a work in progress. You recognize that success isn't about perfection or instant results. It's about showing up consistently for the life you want to create. The ripple effect of small wins. What starts as a small win can grow into something much bigger. Each time you celebrate progress, you build momentum and confidence. That 1 glass of water turns into 2. That 5-minute walk turns into a 30-minute jog. That 1 act of kindness inspires another. Tiny wins don't just move you forward. They change the way you see yourself. They remind you that you are capable, you are making progress, and you do have what it takes to reach your goals. So the next time you feel like you're not doing enough, pause, look around. What have you done today that moved you closer to your goal, even by an inch? Celebrate that. Because life isn't just about the big moments, it's about the small ones that quietly shape who you are and where you're going. Creating new habits can feel daunting. It's like adding something new to an already busy life, and sometimes the sheer effort of remembering to do it can derail us before we even start. That's where the concept of habit anchoring comes in. By tying a new habit to something you already do consistently, you create a natural reminder and build your habit into the rhythm of your daily life. What does it mean to anchor your habits? Anchoring your habits means attaching a new behavior to an existing one. Think of your existing habits as reliable ships in the vast ocean of your day. These ships are steady, anchored, and already part of your routine. If you can tie a new habit to one of these ships, you're far more likely to stay afloat. For example, brushing your teeth is something most of us do every day without fail. It's an established habit. If you want to build a habit of practicing gratitude, you could anchor it to this routine by saying one thing you're thankful for each time you brush your teeth. The existing habit acts as a trigger, reminding you to engage in the new behavior. Why anchoring works. Our brains are wired to look for patterns and shortcuts. When you attach a new habit to an established one, you're piggybacking on a process that your brain already recognizes and performs without much effort. This reduces the mental energy required to remember and execute the new habit. Moreover, anchoring taps into a psychological principle known as context-dependent memory. The idea that our surroundings and routines can act as powerful cues for behavior. By linking your habit to a consistent context, you're creating a built-in reminder. How to anchor your habits? The key to successful habit anchoring is identifying existing habits or routines that are already part of your life. Here's a step-by-step guide. First of all, habit anchoring is less stressful. So identify your existing anchors. Look for habits or actions that are firmly ingrained in your daily life. These could be simple tasks like waking up, making coffee or tea, brushing your teeth, checking your email, locking the door, sitting down at your desk. These are your anchors, consistent behaviors that can serve as triggers for your new habit. Pair the new habit with the anchor. Once you've identified a solid anchor, think about where the new habit can naturally fit. For example, after you brew your morning coffee, you could spend 5 minutes journaling. When you sit down at your desk, you could take 3 deep breaths to center yourself. Before you brush your teeth, you could do 10 squats or practice positive affirmations. Keep it simple. Start with small, manageable habits. The goal is to make the new habit feel almost effortless. For instance, instead of committing to 30 minutes of meditation, start with 1 minute after you wake up. Be specific. Vague intentions like I'll exercise more don't work. Instead, make your habit clear and actionable. For example, after I brush my teeth, I'll do 5 push-ups. Celebrate the connection. When you successfully complete your new habit, even if it's tiny, take a moment to acknowledge your effort. This positive reinforcement helps strengthen the association between the anchor and the new habit. Examples of anchored habits. To see how this works in practice, here are some examples. Anchor to morning routines. After you pour your coffee, write down 1 goal for the day. Anchor to meals. Before eating the lunch, drink a glass of water. Anchor to commuting. While driving home, listen to a podcast or audiobook for self-improvement. Anchor to evening routines. When you take off your shoes at the end of the day, spend 5 minutes stretching. Anchor to technology. Before you open a social media app, take a deep breath and ask yourself what you want to get out of the experience. Troubleshooting habit anchoring. Sometimes, even with the best intentions, an anchored habit doesn't stick. Here are a few common challenges and how to address them. The anchor isn't consistent. If your anchor habit varies day to day, checking email at different times, it may not reliably trigger your new habit. Choose anchors that happen regularly and consistently. The habit feels forced. If your new habit feels unnatural or too ambitious, scale it back. Start small and gradually build. You forget. If you're struggling to remember the connection, consider adding an additional reminder like a sticky note or phone alert until the habit becomes second nature. The power of compounding habits. Once you've mastered one habit anchor, you can build on it. This is called habit stacking, a term popularized by James Clear in Atomic Habits. For instance, you might start with a habit of flossing after brushing your teeth. Once that's established, you could add a second habit, like practicing mindfulness for 30 seconds. Over time, these small, stacked habits can lead to significant transformations. Why anchoring your habits matters. Anchoring habits is a simple but powerful strategy for change. It removes the burden of willpower and decision-making by weaving new behaviors into the fabric of your daily life. Instead of feeling like an extra task, your new habit becomes a natural extension of something you already do. So, what anchor will you choose today? Remember, it doesn't have to be perfect or profound. The smallest, simplest anchors can hold the greatest power when it comes to building a life you love. Start small, stay consistent, and let those anchors keep you steady as you move toward your goals. In a world that glorifies hustle, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that rest is a luxury, a reward you earn only after you've pushed yourself to the brink of exhaustion. But the truth is, rest isn't a reward, it's a necessary. Without it, you're not just risking burnout, you're also sacrificing your health, happiness, and ability to perform at your best. Rest is not negotiable. It's the foundation of a fulfilling, productive life. The myth of I'll rest later. And we often convince ourselves that rest can wait. I'll rest when the project is done. I'll take a break once I've hit my goal. I'll sleep in after I've accomplished more. But let me ask you this. When was the last time you felt truly rested? For many of us, the answer is far too long ago. The problem with the I'll rest later mentality is that it assumes our bodies and minds can function indefinitely without care. But we're not machines, we're humans, and humans need rest to thrive. When we deprive ourselves of it, we don't just run out of energy, we lose creativity, focus, and the ability to connect deeply with ourselves and others. What happens when you don't rest? The effects of neglecting rest are cumulative. At first, you might feel a little tired. Then, as the days and weeks wear on, that tiredness turns into irritability. Small annoyances feel overwhelming. Decreased focus. Simple tasks take twice as long because your mind feels foggy. Poor decision making, you start cutting corners or making impulsive choices. Health issues, chronic stress and fatigue can lead to headaches, a weakened immune system, and even long-term conditions like heart disease or depression. Ironically, when you skip rest to get more done, you end up achieving less because you're operating at a fraction of your potential. Whereas is productive. Contrary to what hustle culture might have you believe, rest isn't laziness. It's actually one of the most productive things you can do. Rest restores your energy, sharpens your focus, and helps you come back stronger. It's the secret ingredient that fuels creativity, problem solving, and resilience. Think of rest as an investment in yourself. When you allow your body and mind the time they need to recover, you're not taking time away from your goals, you're giving yourself the resources to achieve them more effectively. Types of rest you need. Rest isn't just about sleeping more, though that's a big part of it. True rest is holistic, addressing all aspects of your well-being. Here are the types of rest everyone needs. Physical rest. This includes both passive rest, like sleep and napping, and active rest, like stretching, yoga, or leisurely walks. Physical rest allows your body to recover from the stresses of the day. Mental rest. Your brain needs breaks too. If you're constantly switching between tasks or bombarding yourself with information, you'll feel mentally drained. Take short breaks during the day to step away from screens, or try meditation to clear your mind. Emotional rest. Emotional rest means giving yourself permission to feel without judgment. It's okay to step back from people or situations that drain you and spend time with those who uplift you instead. Social rest. While connection is vital, overextending yourself socially can be exhausting. Social rest involves setting boundaries and balancing time with others and time alone. Sensory rest. In our tech-saturated world, our senses are constantly overstimulated. Sensory rest might look like turning off notifications, dimming the lights, or spending time in a quiet, natural setting. Creative rest. Creative rest involves finding inspiration without pressure. This could mean enjoying art, listening to music, or spending time in nature to reignite your imagination. How to prioritize rest and schedule it. Just like you schedule meetings or workouts, schedule time for rest. It could be as simple as setting a bedtime, taking a 15-minute break during work, or dedicating Sundays to relaxation. Create boundaries. Learn to say no. Protect your time and energy by setting clear boundaries with work, family, and social commitments. Listen to your body. Pay attention to your energy levels. If you're feeling drained, take a break. Your body often knows what it needs before your mind catches up. Embrace rest without guilt. Rest is essential, not indulgent. Remind yourself that taking time to recharge isn't selfish. It's necessary for showing up fully in your life. Incorporate micro rests. Rest doesn't always have to mean hours of downtime. Short pauses throughout the day, a deep breath, a quick stretch, or even a moment of silence can make a big difference. The ripple effect of rest. When you make rest a priority, the benefits extend far beyond yourself. You become more present and patient with your loved ones. Your work improves because you're operating at full capacity. Your mood lifts, your health stabilizes, and your creativity flourishes. Rest also sets an example for others. In a culture that often equates busyness with worthiness, prioritizing rest sends a powerful message that you value your well-being, and that's something worth celebrating. Final thoughts. Rest isn't something you earn, it's something you need. It's not a sign of weakness, but of wisdom. By prioritizing rest, you're honoring your body, mind, and spirit. You're giving yourself the best possible chance to show up for your life, fully energized, engaged, and ready to take on the world. So, take the nap, close the laptop, say no to the extra commitment. Rest is non-negotiable because you are non-negotiable. In a world that often equates perfection with success, the idea of embracing imperfection can feel counterintuitive. We're bombarded with messages that tell us to strive for flawlessness. picture-perfect homes, Instagram-worthy lives, and unblemished track records. But here's the truth. Perfection is an illusion, and chasing it often leads to exhaustion, frustration, and a sense of never being enough. And true growth and fulfillment come not from being perfect, but from embracing imperfection and learning to thrive in the messiness of real life. The problem with perfectionism isn't about having high standards. It's about setting impossible ones. It's the belief that if we can just get everything right, we'll finally feel worthy, accepted, or successful. But perfectionism often backfires, leading to procrastination. Fear of not meeting those impossibly high standards can cause us to delay or avoid starting tasks altogether. Burnout, the constant pressure to do more and be more, takes a toll on our mental, emotional, and physical health. Missed opportunities. When we focus on doing everything perfectly, we may miss the beauty and growth that come from taking risks and making mistakes. Perfectionism also isolates us. By pretending to have it all together, we rob ourselves of the connection that comes from vulnerability and authenticity. The irony is that while we strive to be flawless to win approval, it's often our imperfections that make us relatable and lovable. The power of embracing imperfection. Embracing imperfection doesn't mean settling for mediocrity or giving up on self-improvement. It means recognizing that flaws and mistakes are part of being human. It's about shifting your focus from trying to be perfect to striving to be authentic, resilient, and whole. When you embrace imperfection, you free yourself from unrealistic expectations. You allow yourself to show up as you are without the weight of needing to prove your worth. Open the door to growth. Mistakes and failures are some of life's greatest teachers. When you stop fearing them, you start learning from them. Strengthen your relationships. Vulnerability creates connection. When you let others see your imperfections, you give them permission to be real too. Experience joy in the present. Perfectionism keeps you stuck in not yet. Embracing imperfection helps you find joy in the journey, not just the destination. How to embrace imperfection. Shift your mindset. Start by redefining success. Instead of aiming for perfection, aim for progress, growth, or showing up consistently. Celebrate effort over outcomes. Practice self-compassion. Speak to yourself with the same kindness and understanding you'd offer a friend. When you make a mistake, resist the urge to criticize yourself harshly. Instead, say, "This is hard, but I'm doing my best." Reframe mistakes. View mistakes as opportunities to learn, not as evidence of failure. Each misstep is a step closer to growth. Let go of comparison. Social media and societal expectations can make it easy to compare your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel. Remember, no one's life is as perfect as it appears. Celebrate your unique flaws. Your quirks and imperfections make you who you are. Embrace them as part of your individuality rather than something to hide. Take small risks. Start by stepping out of your comfort zone in small ways. Share an idea that's not fully polished. Try a new skill without worrying about mastering it immediately. Each time you face your fear of imperfection, it becomes less daunting. Surround yourself with support. Seek out people who value authenticity over appearances. The right support system will remind you that you're enough just as you are. Stories of imperfection. Consider some of the world's most inspiring figures. Many of them achieved greatness not in spite of their imperfections, but because of them. Think of authors who struggled with rejection, entrepreneurs whose first ventures failed, or artists whose early works were ridiculed. Their willingness to embrace imperfection and keep going is what made their success possible. Even in everyday life, the most meaningful moments often come from imperfection. It's the heartfelt but messy apology that heals a relationship, the improvised dinner that turns into a family favorite, or the stumble that leads to unexpected laughter. These moments remind us that life's beauty lies in its unpredictability and humanity, the ripple effect of embracing imperfection. When you embrace imperfection, you not only transform your own life, you inspire others to do the same. By showing up authentically, you give others permission to be themselves. You create a ripple effect of vulnerability, courage, and connection. Imagine a world where people stopped pretending to be perfect and started embracing their real, messy, beautiful selves. It would be a world filled with more compassion, understanding, and joy, a world where success isn't measured by flawlessness, but by authenticity and growth. Final thoughts. Life isn't a perfectly curated photo or a flawless performance. It's a series of imperfect, messy, and deeply human moments. When you embrace imperfection, you free yourself to live fully, connect deeply, and grow authentically. So let go of the need to be perfect. Wear your flaws proudly, celebrate your mistakes, and remember it's in the cracks and imperfections that the light gets in. As we've explored, life isn't about being perfect, it's about being real. It's about showing up as your authentic self, imperfections and all, and embracing the beauty, the lessons, and the growth that come from living fully. The truth is, our flaws don't diminish us. They define us. They make us relatable, resilient, and uniquely human. So as you leave here today, I encourage you to stop waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect version of yourself, or the perfect set of circumstances. Instead, start where you are, celebrate the tiny wins, anchor your habits, rest when you need to, and embrace your imperfections. And remember, it's not about doing life flawlessly, it's about doing it wholeheartedly. The world doesn't need more perfection. It needs more authenticity, more courage, and more people willing to show up just as they are. And that includes you. So go forward, not aiming to be perfect, but aiming to be present, to be kind to yourself, and to live in a way that's true to you. Because in the end, it's not our polished surfaces that connect us. It's our shared humanity. Thank you.